Use of petroleum-based dyes in food because of health concerns.
So the dyes are used in candies, cereals, drinks, even in some medications.
Think you know what's really in your favorite snacks? Think again. Some foods hide secrets that will shock you.
Even if they want to cut down, even if they know it's killing them, they find they can't stop.
From colorful candies to tasty treats, what goes into them isn't always what you expect.
I was unhealthy, I was overweight, I was actually pre-diabetic. It was a wake-up call.
Once you learn how they're made, your cravings might disappear for good. Ready to uncover the truth behind these everyday foods? Brace yourself. After this, you might never look at your grocery cart the same way again.
How is it that some chemicals that are in our foods have long been banned elsewhere?
Get ready to find out what's really cooking behind the scenes.
Something else happened to our food in the mid-1970s to make it irresistible to people.
The dark side of shrimp cocktails. Nearly all the shrimp served in the United States doesn't even come from U.S. waters. We're talking about over 90% of it being shipped in from Southeast Asia. Sounds exotic, right? Well, the story gets dark real quick. Since the late 1960s, shrimp farming has exploded in countries like Thailand and Bangladesh. Great for business, not so great for the planet. To make room for these shrimp farms, mangrove forests, nature's superhero when it comes to stopping cyclones and flooding, are being bulldozed like yesterday's leftovers. These forests aren't just pretty postcards, they literally save lives. Now, they're disappearing faster than a plate of garlic butter shrimp at a buffet. And that's just the environment. Let's talk about what's happening behind the farm gates. The shrimp industry has some pretty ugly secrets. We're talking about slave labor, real, horrifying stuff. Workers, including kids, are forced into terrible conditions on shrimp farms. These aren't old stories. This is happening right now. No school, no safety, just endless hours of hard labor in dangerous, unsanitary places. Think that's bad? Hold on, we haven't even talked about the shrimp themselves. These little guys go through something called eye stalk ablation. It's as nasty as it sounds. Basically, their eyes get sliced off, yes, eyes, to force them into reproducing. No anesthesia, no mercy. Just stress, pain, and a drop in the quality of their eggs. Scientists say shrimp can feel pain, and this process proves we just might be ignoring that fact completely. Still craving that shrimp taco? Hold on to your forks. There are better ways. Vegan and lab-grown shrimp are making waves, and they don't come with a side of deforestation or human rights violations. You get the flavor, minus the guilt. Eating shrimp shouldn't cost lives, human or marine. Think twice before you dip that next tempura into sauce. Before we move on, check this out. In a chilling expose from Romania, this meat processing facility sparked outrage after undercover footage showed how surplus pigs from industrial farms were dumped en masse for low-cost sausage production. The carcasses, collected by front-end loaders, were destined for discount brands across Eastern Europe, with barely any inspections. Would you still trust your favorite sausage after seeing this? Comment below. The sticky truth about marshmallows. Ever wondered what's really hiding inside that fluffy marshmallow you're about to pop in your mouth? Brace yourself, because these innocent-looking treats have a dark side you probably didn't expect. First up, your body. Marshmallows are basically sugar grenades. We're talking about a list of side effects long enough to make your doctor break into a sweat. Bloating? Yep. Cavities? Definitely. Heartburn, diabetes, inflammation, high blood pressure, weight gain, it's a full buffet of health problems. And if that wasn't enough, they've even been linked to more serious conditions like cancer and heart disease. One tiny marshmallow may not seem like much, but they add up fast. But wait, things get messier. Behind every fluffy bite is an environmental headache. Sure, marshmallows don't guzzle water, but their carbon footprint? Huge. That refined cane sugar they're packed with? It's a climate wrecker, throwing out tons of CO2 and speeding up climate change like it's in a race. Not exactly the sweet treat Mother Nature was hoping for. Now, brace yourself for the animal angle. Most marshmallows aren't just sugar and fluff. They're made with gelatin, a substance pulled from the bones, skin, and connective tissues of animals like pigs, cows, chickens, and even fish. That means every bag of marshmallows has a hidden cost, lives lost, and habitats destroyed. Think deforestation, polluted water, and vanishing wildlife. All for that ooey gooey texture. Craving them now? Didn't think so. But hey, don't despair. You can still roast a treat over a campfire without the guilt trip. Look for gelatin-free marshmallows or switch things up with healthier alternatives that don't mess with your health, the planet, or innocent animals. Turns out, marshmallows aren't all soft and sweet. Behind the fluff is a story that's hard to swallow. The terrifying truth about chicken nuggets and hot dogs. Let's kick things off with the fan favorite, chicken nuggets. These crispy golden bites might taste like childhood, but what's inside is a total nightmare in disguise. They may be called chicken nuggets, but don't let the name fool you. Real meat is barely on the ingredient list. Instead of juicy chicken breast, you're more likely chewing on a mash of fat, skin, bone fragments, nerves, and connective tissue. Sounds delicious, right? Here's the breakdown. Roughly 60% fat and barely 19% protein. And just when you think it couldn't get worse, these nuggets are loaded with artificial stuff, emulsifiers, thickeners, MSG, and preservatives. Basically, it's a science experiment shaped like a snack. Then comes the deep frying. That crispy coating? It's a golden trap. All that oil pushes the health risks into overdrive. Think obesity, diabetes, and even heart disease. But wait, there's more, and it's even more disturbing. The chickens used for nuggets are bred to grow freakishly fast. We're talking broilers that grow so large so quickly, they can't even support their own weight. They live in overcrowded sheds, in filth, with no sunlight, and zero comfort. At just 5 or 6 weeks old, they're crammed into crates and trucked off to slaughter. And what happens there? Brace yourself. These birds are shocked with electricity, then sent down an assembly line where their throats are mechanically sliced. It's fast, brutal, and deeply cruel. Now let's switch gears to hot dogs, a whole new level of mystery meat. Hot dogs aren't made of just meat, they're made of trimmings. That's industry talk for leftover animal parts. We're talking skin, blood, liver, cartilage, bits from the head, feet, and who knows where. These scraps are cooked into a paste, mixed with water, corn syrup, seasonings, and random leftovers. That goo becomes your hot dog, wrapped in animal intestines or artificial casings. Health-wise, they're sodium bombs packing over 500 milligrams of salt, and they're loaded with nitrates, which are linked to cancer and type 2 diabetes. The World Health Organization has even put processed meats like hot dogs in the same cancer risk category as smoking. And behind every bite, a whole lot of suffering. Innocent animals pay the ultimate price, all for something that barely counts as food. Still hungry? Didn't think so. The cheesy truth they didn't slice up front. Spoiler alert, that melty, gooey cheese on your burger might not be cheese at all. You know those bright yellow slices we all grew up with? The ones that kind of melt and kind of bounce? Yeah, those aren't really cheese anymore. They've been rebranded as processed cheese products because legally they just can't be called cheese. Harsh, right? And once you see what's actually in them, well, you might feel less melty inside. Let's talk ingredients. A popular single-slice label looks like a science experiment gone wild. Cheddar cheese. Okay, that's fine. Whey, protein concentrate, sodium citrate, gelatin, milk fat, lactic acid, annatto, paprika extract, and a bonus round of vitamins you didn't ask for. It's like they took real cheese, threw it in a blender with a lab kit, and hoped for the best. But it doesn't stop with the ingredient overload. Processed cheese is packed with stuff your body didn't sign up for. Lactose that can cause bloating and allergies, preservatives that mess with your gut, and additives linked to mood swings, hormone issues, and even cancer. But that childhood grilled cheese might have had a not-so-wholesome sidekick. Now before you panic and break up with cheese forever, don't worry, cheese lovers. The dairy dream isn't dead. There are plenty of better, tastier, and healthier ways to get your calcium fix. Think plant power, spinach, tofu, collard greens, almonds. You get the minerals, the flavor, and none of the weirdness. Processed cheese might look smooth and shiny, but behind that plastic wrap is a processed mess of chemicals your body doesn't need. Time to upgrade your snack game, ditch the fake slices, and start choosing cheese that's actually, well, cheese. The bitter truth behind the fake sweet. If sugar had a shady cousin, it'd be artificial sweeteners, sweet on the surface, suspicious underneath. Let's break it down. Artificial sweeteners are chemical compounds tossed into foods and drinks to make them taste sugary without actually using sugar. Sounds like a win for your waistline, right? But here's where things get a little sticky. These sweeteners are crazy sweet. Some are literally thousands of times sweeter than sugar. Just a tiny bit goes a long way. But don't let the sweetness fool you. The way they're made is more mad scientist than healthy swap. Take aspartame for starters. It's about 200 times sweeter than regular sugar. And how is it made? By combining amino acids with, wait for it, methanol. The same chemical used in antifreeze and fuel. Makes your soda sound a lot less refreshing, doesn't it? And aspartame isn't the only one with a sketchy backstory. Saccharin and sucralose also go through complex chemical processes that are far from natural. Think heavy-duty lab work, not farm-to-table goodness. Now, here's where things get even trickier. Some studies have linked these sweeteners to health concerns. We're talking gut bacteria going out of balance, which can mess with your digestion, blood sugar levels, and even your metabolism. That's right, something designed to help control your weight could actually backfire in a big way. And get this, despite having 0 calories, these sweeteners might increase your appetite. That's because they can confuse your brain into thinking it's getting sugar, only to leave you craving more when it doesn't arrive. Cue the snack attacks and late-night fridge raids. Trying to cut sugar? That's great, but replacing it with ultra-processed chemicals might not be the sweet deal it pretends to be. Artificial sweeteners may promise a guilt-free sugar fix, but the cost to your body could be anything but sweet. The nasty truth buried in your noodle cup. It's cheap, fast, and tastes like a warm hug in a bowl. But the truth behind your favorite instant noodles? Not so comforting. Let's be honest, we've all leaned on instant noodles during broke student days or lazy dinners. They're quick, affordable, and honestly, kind of addictive. But that convenience comes with a dark side most people never see. Instant noodles are made from wheat flour, salt, preservatives, and that one ingredient everyone loves to hate, MSG. But the real villain? Palm oil. It gives the noodles their texture and long shelf life, but it also leaves behind a massive trail of destruction. Here's the deal. To grow palm oil, vast chunks of tropical rainforest are burned down. We're talking about rich, thriving ecosystems turned into empty farmland. And the victims? Endangered animals like orangutans and tigers that lose their homes, or worse. All for a packet of noodles. And the bad news doesn't stop there. The carbon footprint of palm oil production is sky high. We're fueling global warming with every cup. Speaking of cups, those styrofoam and plastic containers your noodles come in. They don't just vanish. They pile up in landfills, break down slowly, if ever, and release harmful greenhouse gases as they sit there, doing long-term damage to the planet. Now, let's talk about what's actually going into your body. Some instant noodles come loaded with additives like TBHQ, a chemical preservative linked to cancer risks. There's also the chance of metabolic syndrome creeping in, which includes things like high blood sugar, high cholesterol, and even heart disease. All that from a quick meal? It might be time to rethink that easy dinner. Instant noodles may save you a few minutes and a couple bucks now, but they could cost a lot more in the long run, both for your health and for the planet. Never trust margarine again. You'd think something that spreads so smoothly on toast wouldn't be such a health hazard. But margarine has a sneaky side. Back in the day, margarine was hyped as the healthier cousin of butter. Less saturated fat? Sounds like a win. But fast forward, and it turns out this buttery imposter has been hiding some serious skeletons in its yellow tub. Let's start with trans fats, margarine's not-so-secret weapon. These are created during a process called hydrogenation, where liquid vegetable oils are blasted with hydrogen to make them solid at room temperature. Sounds sciencey and cool, until you learn what it does to your body. Trans fats are basically villains in disguise. They've been strongly linked to heart disease, high cholesterol, and a long list of chronic health nightmares. Even health organizations have waved red flags at this stuff, urging people to keep their intake as close to zero as possible. But margarine doesn't stop there. It also tends to be loaded with omega-6 fatty acids. Now, omega-6s aren't bad on their own. Your body actually needs them. But in huge amounts, they can throw your system out of balance and trigger inflammation. And chronic inflammation? That's the gateway to all kinds of problems like heart disease, obesity, and even inflammatory bowel conditions. To make things more confusing, some studies argue that omega-6 isn't the villain it's made out to be. But here's the safe bet. Moderation is key, and margarine doesn't make that easy when it's hiding out in so many everyday foods. Bottom line? Margarine might look harmless on your toast, but it's far from an innocent spread. If you're aiming for heart health and a little peace of mind, ditch the processed stuff. Try a slick of olive oil or spread on some avocado. Your taste buds still get the flavor, and your body skips the chemical chaos. Win-win. Meat in a can? Think again. When you're rushing through life, canned meat seems like the perfect quick fix, right? Well, not quite. Canned meat, the stuff that looks harmless in its little metal home, isn't exactly the friendly pantry buddy it pretends to be, especially if you're trying to keep your heart happy or your waistline in check. One of the biggest culprits? Spam. That retro meat brick is still causing modern problems. Here's the deal. Canned meats are loaded with calories, saturated fat, and more sodium than a bag of pretzels at a movie marathon. That combo is a triple threat. Too much of it can clog up your arteries, spike your blood pressure, and pack on pounds faster than you can say, mystery meat. And let's talk about that salt. Canned meats can come with a sodium punch so strong, your heart might start tapping out. High sodium means water retention, and water retention means bloating and added pressure on your heart. Not exactly the kind of support system your body needs. If you're watching your health, you're better off steering your cart toward the deli counter. Fresh meats, the kind that didn't come sealed in a tin from the 1980s, are a much safer bet. You get the protein without the side of preservatives and surprise ingredients. Still can't shake the canned meat cravings? There are some lighter options out there. Look for labels that say low fat, low sodium, or lean. They won't turn your lunch into a health food miracle, but they're less of a nutritional nightmare. At the end of the day, canned meat is more of a convenience food than a clean choice. It's fine in an apocalypse or a camping trip, but maybe not as your go-to dinner guest. Your heart and your taste buds will thank you. You'll never sip this again after knowing the truth. Crack open a cold can of soda and it sounds refreshing, but what's inside that bubbly sweetness is anything but cool for your body. Let's talk about how these fizzy little sugar bombs are made. Soda is basically liquid candy, loaded with added sugars that serve zero purpose except to make your taste buds dance and your health spiral. These sugars, usually sucrose or high fructose corn syrup, are what nutritionists call empty calories. That means they fill you up with, well, nothing. No nutrients, no fiber, just a calorie crash waiting to happen. Here's where it gets sneakier. That fructose hiding inside? It doesn't act like the sugar your body knows how to handle. Unlike glucose, which your body can use in just about every cell, fructose has one fan club, your liver. That's the only place it gets processed, and if there's too much coming in, spoiler alert, there usually is, it turns into fat. This is one of the reasons soda is a fast-track ticket to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And there's more. That extra fat you see creeping around your midsection, soda's often the culprit. It contributes to stubborn belly fat, which doctors link directly to heart disease and type 2 diabetes. As if that wasn't enough, regular soda guzzling messes with your insulin. That's the hormone that keeps your blood sugar in check. When it stops working properly, your body flips into insulin resistance, one of the main ingredients in the recipe for metabolic syndrome. Translation: your risk for heart disease, diabetes, and a whole list of chronic issues goes up, all for a 5-second sugar rush. So next time you're reaching for that sugary sip, maybe pause and think, is the fizz really worth the fallout? White bread blues. Think white bread is just harmless fluff? Think again. This sneaky staple is linked to health problems like diabetes, heart disease, and obesity. It's kind of like tobacco. Research shows white bread can become a habit that drags your health down a dangerous path. Why is it so bad? It all comes down to something called the glycemic index. White bread sends your blood sugar soaring like a rocket, then crashing fast, which leaves you hungry again before you know it. This cycle sparks cravings and overeating, turning your body into a sugar roller coaster that never ends. If that wasn't enough, studies have found that eating white bread can make you chow down more calories at your next meal. It's like your sandwich is secretly tricking you into eating extra. But here's the real kicker. White bread is missing fiber. When they turn wheat into white flour, most of the fiber gets stripped away. Fiber is like the superhero of nutrition. It lowers cholesterol, keeps your blood pressure in check, and even helps fight off some cancers. Without fiber, you're left with a loaf that's basically empty calories wrapped in soft, fluffy bread. Even though it's cheap, lasts forever on the shelf, and feels great in your hands, white bread is doing your body no favors. It's a classic case of looks can be deceiving. Before grabbing that loaf, think about what's inside. Choosing whole grain bread instead can give your body the boost it deserves. Canned veggies and the BPA sneak attack. Canned veggies might seem like a quick and easy way to get your greens, but there's more lurking inside those shiny tins than just peas and carrots. The canning process involves processing, sealing, and heating. Pretty standard stuff. But here's the twist. Many cans are lined with a chemical called BPA, and it loves to sneak into your food. Research shows that over 90% of canned vegetables carry BPA, which is linked to some serious health headaches. Studies suggest BPA might play a part in heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and even mess with male sexual health. The science isn't crystal clear, but why take the risk when you don't have to? If that wasn't enough, canned veggies can sometimes host unwelcome guests like Clostridium botulinum, the bacteria behind botulism. Botulism is no joke. It can cause paralysis or even death if untreated. Don't panic though. This rarely happens with store-bought cans. Just avoid any cans that look bulging, leaking, or damaged. That's a red flag screaming, "Stay away!" There's more. Some canned veggies come packed with salt and sugar to keep them tasty and shelf-stable. That might not sound too bad until you realize too much salt can hike up your blood pressure, while added sugars can invite obesity, heart disease, and diabetes to the party. So, canned veggies come with more than just nutrients. You're getting a side of chemicals and risks you didn't bargain for. Choosing fresh or frozen can save you from this can of worms. What's really in your imitation crab? You might think imitation crab is just a cheaper, fun substitute for the real deal, but let's pull back the curtain. It's basically a science experiment in your seafood. This stuff is so heavily processed, it's packed with all sorts of additives and preservatives that sound like they belong in a chemistry lab. There's artificial crab flavoring, which tries way too hard to trick your taste buds, and something called sodium tripolyphosphate, which sounds fancy but is really just there to keep the texture just right and the shelf life super long. Compared to genuine crab meat, imitation crab is kind of like a nutritional wallflower. It's lower in salt and calories, sure, but also missing key nutrients like vitamin B12, selenium, and protein that your body actually wants. Plus, it's loaded with additives that can stir up trouble in your gut, causing inflammation or making things leaky in a bad way. And if you're someone who reacts to gluten or has celiac disease, watch out! Imitation crab can hide gluten like a ninja, ready to cause chaos. Holding its shape is another challenge, so manufacturers sneak in sugar, flour, and vegetable oils, turning your crab into something more like a slice of white bread with fins. Oh, and let's not forget MSG, the favorite flavor booster of many processed foods. It's often tucked away in these products, and some people get headaches, muscle stiffness, or other annoying symptoms from it. Now, it's not just your body paying the price. The environment takes a hit too. Making imitation crab requires energy-heavy processing and sometimes involves fishing practices that aren't exactly planet-friendly. Plus, mislabeling is a real issue here, causing confusion and even allergic reactions because no one knows what's actually in that plastic package. So yeah, that crab you're about to eat, it's a lot more complicated and questionable than it looks. Packaged greens with a dirty secret. Here's a salad story that might make you think twice before grabbing that convenient bag labeled "ready to eat." Packaged salads have become the go-to snack for health nuts and busy folks alike. They look fresh, green, and guilt-free, but behind the scenes, things get a bit messy. Turns out, those leafy greens can be sneakily dangerous. You know those labels that say triple washed? Feels reassuring, right? Well, despite all that fancy washing, packaged salads have been linked to some pretty nasty bugs. The big villain here is E. coli O157:H7, a bacteria so serious it can cause deadly illnesses. But it's not just E. coli crashing the salad party. Salmonella, norovirus, listeria, and cyclospora have also been spotted hiding in your greens. So how do these creepy crawlies end up on your salad? The journey from farm to fork is a wild one. Contaminated irrigation water, sloppy handling during processing, or careless shipping can introduce these germs at multiple points. Basically, the greens have to pass through a microbial obstacle course before landing in your bowl. Different germs cause different troubles. Some bring stomach cramps, others trigger fevers, or worse. Pregnant women, older adults, and anyone with a weaker immune system should be extra careful. But it's not all doom and gloom. There's a serious squad of scientists and food safety pros on the case. Thanks to the Food Safety Modernization Act's Produce Safety Rule, strict guidelines are in place to keep your greens safer. Ongoing research dives into how these bugs behave, while surveillance teams keep a sharp eye out for outbreaks. This means safer salads down the road, even if your current bag might have a few unwanted guests. So next time you toss a packaged salad in your cart, remember, it's not just lettuce. It's a microbial thriller waiting to unfold. The colorful lie in your food. Ever grabbed a snack just because it looked fun and colorful? That bright red candy, the neon blue drink, or the golden yellow cereal? Here's the twist. It's not the flavor getting your attention. It's the dye. And what makes those colors pop? A little something special, straight from petroleum, the same greasy stuff used in car fuel and plastic. Bon appetit! Food manufacturers don't add these artificial dyes for nutrition. They do it for looks. These bright colors trick your brain, and especially kids' brains, into thinking the food is tastier or fresher than it really is. But here's the not-so-fun part. They bring absolutely zero nutritional benefit. They're all flash, no substance. Now, let's talk health. These synthetic dyes aren't just pointless, they're potentially harmful. They've been known to trigger inflammation, mess with your immune system, and stress your body out like it's fighting off a tiny, colorful enemy. And that's just the warm-up. Some of the most common food dyes out there, they're not just fake, they're contaminated with carcinogens. That means chemicals linked to cancer are floating around in your gummy bears and rainbow-colored snacks. These dyes have also been connected to hypersensitivity reactions, and kids are especially at risk. From hyperactivity to allergic responses, that innocent-looking snack could be doing more damage than you think. Now, here's the real kicker. Many of these dyes are still considered safe by regulatory agencies, but safe doesn't always mean harmless. Studies and consumer advocates have raised concerns for years, and yet those toxic rainbow colors keep sneaking into our lunchboxes, cereals, and candies. The next time you see something unnaturally bright on your plate, you might want to ask, is it food or is it fuel for your car? Those colors may be eye-catching, but they come with a dark side your body definitely doesn't need. The sweet scam in your snack bag? They look cute, they taste sweet, and the box has fruit all over it. What could go wrong, right? Welcome to the world of packaged fruit snacks, where real fruit barely shows up and sugar steals the spotlight. Here's the juicy truth. While these snacks might say they contain real fruit, it usually comes in the form of purees or juices that have been stripped of all the good stuff. No fiber, barely any nutrients, just the sugar left behind, and lots of it. These treats are more candy than fruit, but they're dressed up like they belong in your kid's lunchbox. Now let's talk about added sugar. These snacks are packed with it. We're talking about the kind of sugar that makes your energy crash, your waistline grow, and your risk of things like type 2 diabetes and heart disease skyrocket. All that from a snack that's supposed to be healthy. But wait, the fruity drama continues. Alongside the sugar rush, you'll find artificial flavors and colors. Sounds fun until you realize these can mess with your body in ways that are anything but fun. They've been linked to allergies, food sensitivities, and even neurological issues. Kids in particular may feel the effects, with some studies pointing to learning problems, memory trouble, and even behavioral changes tied to those vibrant dyes. And if you're thinking, well, at least they have vitamins, hold that thought. Compared to actual fruits and veggies, these snacks are seriously lacking. Whole fruits are loaded with fiber, antioxidants, and nutrients that your body needs to function properly. Packaged fruit snacks? Not even close. Relying on them too often could lead to nutrient gaps you didn't see coming. In the end, that tiny pouch of colorful fruit might be more of a sweet trap than a smart snack. It's like biting into a lie, one shaped like a strawberry. Scrambled lives behind, scrambled eggs. Crack an egg, make some breakfast. It all feels pretty harmless, right? But behind that smooth shell is a story the egg industry doesn't want you to know. And trust me, it's not sunny side up. To keep up with demand, egg production has gone massive. We're talking millions of hens crammed into giant factory sheds, feathers missing, stressed out, and often bullied by the other birds. Sounds like a poultry prison, doesn't it? But the cruelty runs deeper. Male chicks? They don't lay eggs, and the industry has no use for them. They're killed on day one. Yes, the day they're born. Then there's a practice called forced molting, where hens are deliberately starved to shock their bodies into laying more eggs. It's not just inhumane, it's horrifying. Mother hens never even get the chance to raise their chicks. Eggs are taken and hatched in sterile machines. The natural bond between a hen and her chick? Gone. That separation causes stress and fear in the newborns, which can lead to abnormal behaviors and long-term issues. And those perfect-looking eggs in the grocery aisle? They're laid by hens under constant physical strain. Laying hundreds of eggs a year isn't normal, it's exhausting. Many hens suffer from broken bones and painful injuries from being pushed to their biological limits. Let's not forget beak trimming. It's exactly what it sounds like. Chicks get part of their sensitive beaks cut off to prevent them from pecking each other in those tight cages. It's like cutting off your fingertips to stop you from scratching. Completely unnatural and extremely painful. Even with all these horrors, there's still the risk of salmonella. Contaminated eggs slip through, and outbreaks continue to affect people across the globe. Those innocent-looking eggs carry a backstory that's anything but wholesome. Behind every golden yolk, there's a system that's cracked, broken, and long overdue for change. The sweet trap of corn syrup. Sweet, sticky, and hiding in almost everything, corn syrup is the smooth-talking villain of the food world. It's in your sodas, your snacks, your sauces, even some healthy bars. But what is it really doing to your body? Buckle up because this sweet ride gets messy. Corn syrup, especially the high fructose kind, is made up of roughly 55% fructose and 45% glucose. Sounds sciencey, but here's what it means. Your liver has to do most of the heavy lifting. Unlike glucose, which your whole body can use, fructose drops all its baggage at your liver's doorstep. And your liver? It's not too happy about it. When fructose overloads the liver, it starts turning into fat. This leads to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, or NAFLD. It's as unpleasant as it sounds. We're talking about fat piling up in your liver cells and potentially leading to serious damage, even liver failure over time. But the drama doesn't stop there. Corn syrup can mess up your gut like a soap opera gone wild. Excess fructose can throw your gut bacteria completely out of balance, leading to inflammation. That can trigger something called leaky gut syndrome. Basically, your gut lining gets damaged, and all sorts of unwanted stuff leaks into your bloodstream. Gross, right? It also makes gaining weight and developing diabetes way more likely. Then there's your heart. Corn syrup doesn't play nice here either. It can shoot up your triglyceride levels, raising your risk of heart disease, strokes, and heart attacks. Blood sugar? Out of whack. Insulin starts resisting. Uric acid goes up. Hello, gout and kidney stones. And just to make it worse, the manufacturing process strips away any nutrients. What you're left with is a syrupy sludge full of empty calories that quietly clings to your waistline. Behind its sweet face, corn syrup is a sneaky saboteur. It tastes like a treat, but behaves like a health nightmare. Now that you've seen what really goes into these everyday foods, it's hard to look at them the same way again. Food isn't just about taste, it's about what's inside and how it affects us. Next time you shop, remember this little peek behind the curtain. Choosing wisely can make a huge difference for your health and happiness. Stay curious, keep asking questions, and always take care of what you put on your plate. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, eat smart and stay safe.